Good day, class. For this video, we will begin with the rules of basic graphic design. When we say rules, these are the things that we need to consider, or we need to, let's say, do a little research, no, before rendering the actual product or material. So for the part 2, we will be discussing some of the initial rules, such as, of course, the target audience, no? What is the message of your material? What will be the plans, no? For your color scheme? What will be the color palette? And of course, the visual hierarchy. So if you have watched the first part of the video, we have discussed there, of course, the background, no, of the concept of design, the term graphic or graphics, and of course, what is the definition of graphic design as a practice and of course as a field, no? Ayan. So hopefully for this video you will learn a lot, no? And you might want to review these things if you are already practicing graphic design to improve your skills, not just in technical aspect of graphic design, but in terms of course, the research, no? Because as graphic designer, you do not just make posters, no? You also need to consider, no, how to convey the message properly, no, to your audience or to your market. So let's proceed. So the first rule for me, no, is before making anything or any material that you need to do, firstly you need to know who are you talking to, no? So that will be your target market, or also known as your target audience. So those are the viewers of your posters, those are the recipients of your flyers, those are the viewers, no, of your bulletin boards, your billboards, your television ads. So when we say target audience, you need to consider first, of course, the age range, no? Because there's a lot of generations to consider, especially nowadays that you are in a society where of course the oldies, the boomers, no, the millennials, and the Gen Zs coexist, no? So for example, if your target audience are the youth people, no, or the young people, you need to make a range, no, from ages 13 to 35, 13 to 30 years old, no? There's a certain taste, no, or aesthetical taste for a particular generation, no? For instance, I'm a millennial, so there's some point that I unite with the Gen Z in terms of aesthetical sense, no, or taste. But a lot of us also, most especially the older generations like the boomers, etc., they have this different approach in design. They have this different taste, no, when it comes to design, that do not actually agree, no, or intersect with that of the aesthetical sense or taste of the Gen Z and the millennials. So these generations have different aesthetical tastes, no? So they might unite at some point. So that's where the researcher or the graphic designer should look into, no? So what will be, for example, what will be the colors, no, the fonts, or style of illustration, where you can cater the Gen Z generation way back to the boomers, no? So what will be that style, no? What will be that font, no, that will attract all of these generations, no? Or it will be easier, of course, if your a target audience will be just the the millennials, of course, because that will just probably range from the 20s to 40s, no? Example, if Gen Z, that will be a lot more easier because it's what's trending nowadays, no? But what is difficult here is you need to research when it comes to if you widen, no, the range, no. For example, the client needs you to create a poster that caters the interests of millennials and Gen Z. So that will be a huge age range, no? So that is what we need to consider when it comes to age range. Next will be the sex or the gender preferences if necessary, no? As much as we do not want to discriminate genders, no, or sexual preferences, we're still in a society where colors are distinct to particular genders or sexualities, no? So for example, pink and purple are still associated with women, no? When we say for men, definitely it will be blue or green or any kind of strong colors, no? uh, a lot would probably laugh at a young boy if this boy would bring or would use a pink handkerchief, for example. So those are the backward practices, no, that we still have nowadays, no, that we need, of course, to develop in the future, no. But nowadays, or in present times, we still exist in this kind of uh, system, no. So we still need to, as researchers or as designers, we still need to adapt to that, no, because it probably has something to do, of course, psychologically, or it has something to do with their interests then, because they have this certain upbringing that they are interested with these certain colors, no. So an example for that, another example would be, for example, in June, no, it's month of pride, no, LGBT community. So logos of a lot of companies would change their regular logos into rainbow, no. That would make them of course visually uh, an ally, no, of the LGBT community, or that would make their companies inclusive, no, when it comes to gender. So that's very important because it also caters the different sexes and genders, caters certain colors or certain psychological effects with the colors. Ayun. The next would be the socioeconomic class. So that will be what will be their occupation, no? Are they studying? Uh, are they working? No. What would be their religious belief, no? Political belief, if they have the luxury of having a political belief. So for example, in Philippine context, are they yellows, pinks, no, reds, no, or Duterte, DDS, BBM? There's a lot, and some would not have the kind of luxury, no, to choose political belief, no, and even in religion, no? And of course, the other cultural lifestyle or lifestyle preferences, if there's necessary, or if there's a need, no, to consider this. So for example, if your posters will be catering members of the Muslim community, definitely you would be considerate, no, to their culture, no. For example, let's put it this way: if your visitors are from a Muslim community, definitely you won't be serving them pork, no. You have to be sensitive with that, no. So there's a lot of different approach that you need to consider when it comes to visual communication, no. When we communicate with people, we need, of course, to study them first, no, to know the demographics, no, of this certain political groups, no, or groups of people before we talk to them, no. Otherwise we will be speaking English, no, into a community who only understands Japanese, for example. So this is an example that I would like to share to you guys, no, regarding the socioeconomic classes, no. These people in the social triangle that we call this is just a Philippine context, no. So we still live in let's say what we call this the semi-colonial and semi-feudal society. So the 1% would be the landlords, the businessmen, no, the national bourgeoisie, so that's the smaller scale businessmen, no, that will still be in 1 to 2%, no. The petty bourgeois, those professionals, the professionals, the doctors, the teachers, uh, the writers, researchers, etc., no, those who are in the professional uh, fields. 15% will be the workers, no, the working class. When we say working class, that's not the typical employed person in an office. That's a part of the 7 to 8%, the petty bourgeois. But the working class, when we say working class, those are the jeepney drivers, the factory workers, those who earn a small amount daily. So those who repack food in the factories, no, who make buildings, the construction workers, no, etc., etc. And of course, the 75% are in the countryside. Uh, those are the farmers. So why do we have to study this? No, because uh, there's a difference between their aesthetical preferences, no? Meaning a minimal material or a minimal logo will be much more appreciated by the 1 to 8% of your target audience or in your society, no, wherein the 15 to 75% will be catered by a much more cluttered material. So if you put it this way, for example, the logos of the noontime shows, no, will be it's very elaborate, no, it's very shiny, etc., etc. It has something to do with the cluttered culture, no, visually cluttered culture that they are going through or they live in, no. So for example, in uh, in the lifestyle, no, of for example an urban poor resident, everything is cluttered, no, they have lots of stuff, etc. But why do they have a lot of stuff? Probably it has something to do with culture, sentimentalism, etc. But we have to consider that the spaces, no, where they live is also small, no. Hence things, no, in their houses, in their neighborhood will be cluttered, no. Wherein of course in the 7 to 8 to 1%, they live in subdivisions, they live in big houses where there's a lot of space. So even though they have a lots and lots of assets and that stuff, it's still not cluttered because of the space that they enjoy, no, the space that they have, no. It's a privilege, no. So optically, no, it has something to do with what they are comfortable with, no. So for hence the corporate people will always prefer, no, according to studies, no, always prefer minimal, no. Wherein of course the lower classes, the lower socioeconomic classes will always or most likely prefer the cluttered, the colorful, no, the extravagant, because it's enjoyable for them. It's also enjoyable for at least some of the 1% to 7 to 8% of the society, but they still live in a corporate life or in a minimal life na where they do not need, no, to what do you call this, to display, no, the extravagance, no. Wherein of course in the lower class, the socioeconomic classes, they need to display all of, for example, all of their achievements, the diplomas in their walls, So what I'm trying to say, it's in the culture, it's in their way of life that they practice this kinds of things, and it affects, of course, uh, their optical preferences when it comes to aesthetics. Next will be get straight to the point. So, when we say get straight to the point, do not say anything else but just the point itself when you're going to make a product. So, this is where the copywriters go or enter. No? What is the message? So, everything is a selling proponent. No? Everything, no? From, of course, the product, no, it might be a food, no, if you're selling, for example, meat products, baked sushi, etc., etc. So there's a lot of products that we see online, no, that needs the attention of graphic designers, no, for publicity, no. For example, campaigns, no, ideas, no, politicians nowadays, example, it's election period, so a lot of election materials are in social media, uh, outside of your house, no, in front of your gates, no, across the road. This is necessary. No, graphic design is also relevant there. Even in personalities such as vloggers, no, for example, even my channel, no, there's a templates, there's a thumbnail, no, for the videos, no. Businesses, of course, you need flyers and posters, no, etc., etc. So all of these are uh, giving you one message. They are selling something, no, they are selling a politician in return of your vote. There's selling they are selling products in exchange for your money, of course, no. They are selling videos in exchange for your views, no, or your likes, no, your social media validations, no. So hence in this rule, no, social media or graphic design is relevant, no, especially in social media, no. So we need to study the advantages or disadvantages. When we say disadvantages and advantages of a material, it is pertaining to what is the useful materials that we can probably have, no. What are the materials that we need to make when it comes to what we're selling? So if you're selling a food, definitely you need a particular set of materials. For example, a menu, a poster, no? You might need a flyer, no, but you do not need necessarily an infographics, no. When we say a campaign or electoral campaign, you probably do not need a menu for that, no? But you need, of course, an infographics, an election poster, etc., etc. So there are certain materials that you need to select and deselect, no. Ayan. So there's this rule that the clients, no, are always right, no. Your clients might be a bit too demanding, no, or unreasonable, but it is always our duty as graphic designers to explain to them what are the terms, no, what are the conditions of the graphic design, and why is it taking too much time, no, and of course why is your design better than what he or she is envisioning, no. So you need, as of course, we are also selling our skills to them, therefore you need to tell them which is better, you know? At the end of the day, the client is hiring you, no, for this task because of your expertise. Yeah. So of course, reminder, no cluttered materials as much as possible, even if it's of course in the lower socioeconomic class. Why? Sir, why? No? Because it still needs to be clear. The message still needs to be readable. So you might risk, no, the clarity of the posters or the materials. Hence, you need to, of course, put only the texts that you need, no? If you are going too far or very detailed, that will make the uh, material cluttered because of the heavy text contents, no? For example, if it's in social media, you put the texts, no, in the caption, no? You are not necessarily needed to write everything in the poster. So no wordy materials, but it is case to case basis, no? It depends on the material, and of course it depends on the uh, the text, no? The importance of some particular words or quotes in the material would affect, no, the text that we will insert in the material. But if we can budget the text that we need to place in the poster, of course, let's do it. Let's do the necessary things, no, to minimize, no, to minimize the text. At the same time, we keep the message clear. Ayan. So because there's the risk that the messaging will be varied if we, of course, if we, for example, remove one word, no, that will endanger the entire message, you know, especially if it's a political material. So this is other examples that I got from Facebook with permission. So this is from Kabataan Party List. So they are, I think they are running for elections, no? This is for the Eid al-Fitr, no? For the Muslim occasion. So of course they made a theme, no, timely of the occasion. And the other one is for the Earth Day, no? So there's the message, but there's no other details necessary in the messaging. So you need to say it's Earth Day, invest in our planet, then just say it. And of course, the pictures will help the viewers understand your message. So like in this other picture, the Eid Mubarak, so it's just a greeting to the Muslims community on May 3, no? So there's no other message. If there's a statement, they can put it in the caption. Ayan. Or of course voice over, or they can make flyers for the particular messages, no? But in terms of just posters, it's just the gist, no, of the material, no? Same goes for photo quotes, no? Just a small sound bite of for example, a personality, no, of course, for example, the president is talking, you just select, no, a sound bite or a particular sentence, or let's say a small paragraph of it, but you do not put the entire transcript of his speech in the poster, because that will make, of course, the poster unclear or unreadable, no? You just select the most catchy or the most iconic, memorable quote from the personality, no, and you can place his photo there or her photo there, no, or their logo, and there you go. There's photo quote. Ayan. Now for this part, you need to select your color scheme or your color palette. So why am I deeming this necessary? No, because in my experience as graphic designer, we always have the risk, no, of selecting colors by color picker or eyedropper, no. The risk of that of doing that practice is selecting a particular pixel, no. For example, if your materials are pixelated, no, because of the copy paste, no, you might risk selecting or picking the color already different, no, from the actual original color of your branding. Hence, it's always preferred that you memorize, or you, of course, you take note, no, if you cannot memorize, you take note of the hex codes, no. So these are the hex codes. For example, in my materials, my hex codes will be triple EDE, triple EDED, no? Or it's a light gray, that's not white, that's a light gray shade of color. So EA3939 is a bright red, no? Crimson, or no, vermilion, no? So 2B will be dark gray, that's not black, no? So avoid as much as possible when making a material, especially if your material will be just for virtual devices, such as of course your computers, your phones, no? Avoid RGB or super bright color. So we will discuss the difference with between the RGB and the CMYK in another video. But what I'm trying to say here is you need to avoid people looking at your materials as an eyesore, no? You need to keep them attracted, no, to your materials, no? You need to make them feel relaxed when they view, or when they look at your material, no? We want them to keep their eyes, no, to your posters, instead of course having them irritated by it, no? Ayun. So of course the color of your organization. So for example, in the school that I'm working in, it's color blue. So there's a particular shade of blue. In other institutions, there are shades of colors that are supposed to be uniform, no? Nowadays it's election, so there's particular shades of pink, no? There's a lot of pink, no? And the very dangerous color, I think, in the election season is color red, because there's a red that is associated with a worker presidential, no? There's a red that is associated with the leftist groups, and there's a red that is associated with the son of a dictator, no? So they need, no, to if I am going to give you an advice, but it's not that useful because it's already May 4. But next time, piece of advice, you need to have different hex codes of red, no? Or probably it's much more safer if you will choose other colors, no? But I don't think that's workable. But ideally, they need to make some identity of themselves, no? If they are all to use the same color. So hex codes will be useful, so that of course you will keep that shade of color, instead of picking colors. You have a brand Bible, we say brand Bible or brand book, that we might refer to or use as reference in making logos, in making posters, no? So that our posters or our materials will be uniform. So there will be no materials that are off strat. So when we say off strat, it's off strategy, meaning it's not the same as the others, no? And it's awkwardly different. So way back 2016, I was artist and graphic designer of Kabataan Party List. So one of the things that I made for them is this style guide, no? So we handpicked shades of blue, no? In fact, we went through streets, no, to look for a particular shade of blue that will be used, no, as main colors, no, for the organization, no? So we made contrasting shades of blue. We chose contrasting colors, no? And of course we particularized the other colors, such as the red, the yellows, no? You cannot use other colors except for this, no, in terms of the branding. Even the black, no, and the gray, no, there's a palette for that. So if you're trying to draw a material related to the organization, these are the colors that you are only allowed to use, no? So that is also of course applicable to the placement of the logos, placement of the materials, no? So they are not allowed, no, I'm not sure now, but during our time, we are not allowed to put our logos in backgrounds that are not color blue, no, or not color white. If you are to do it, there's this uh, type of logo, no, or variation in which it's encircled, no, so it will be safe to place in a different color. So that's the relevance of choosing color. So we when choosing color, you need to consider of course that it needs to be relaxing, no, to the eyes of the viewer, no. Hence you need to consider the color wheel, and you need to select particular hex codes to make sure, no, that it's not uh, an eyesore, it's not irritating in the eyes, no, and it's not boring. Ayun. It's fun to see, no, and it's attractive. So the next will be the visual hierarchy, also known as information hierarchy. So this is one of the most important rule, no, I must say, because of the, of course, the essence. No, it's the placement of your elements according to prioritization. So of course, the main point or the title will be the most prioritized, or the priority element in your material, no. So for example, when you are making slides or posters, you need to make the title bigger, or of course it needs to capture most of the attention, no. So some posters, the photos will be the main point itself, but that's very intermediate or very difficult to do, no. If your photos will be of course very clear, no, or probably in the next videos we will discuss this, but basically in basic practice, it's always the title which has the most of the attention. Therefore it's the main point, and it's the biggest, no, it takes the biggest share or the biggest space in your material in terms of placement. The next will be the detail, no, or the details or the subtitles, no. So for example, it's a forum on climate change, for example. So when will be that forum, where's the venue, and other so other corresponding details, no. So that will be the subtitle, no. So December something something at blah 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 hall, no, in Quezon City, for example. The other necessary details, of course, those are maybe the one with an asterisk, no. So for example, you need to bring candles for the event, or you need to bring water, or please wear white, please wear pink, no. Those are the others, no, the others, no, or the tertiary details that it's not necessarily needed in the poster, but it will be helpful to place it there if you won't be reading the caption if it's in social media, no. But it will be not that actually necessary. Signatories will be the logos of your organization. So we need to identify which organization is that. Of course, for example, it's in the same shade of red, no, and you are an activist, for example, and that event is organized by let's say BBM, no, and you go there without actually knowing who organized it. You just referred to the red as a color. So hence the logo is needed, no, for you to understand what is or what is the organization's that organized, no, the event, no, of the poster. What is the signatory of the poster? You need, of course, if you're making an artwork, no, it's just similar to the signature. You need to know who is the people, or who is the person, or who are the people behind it, no? Of course, the other supporting graphics will be the photographs, the illustrations, no? That is to support the message of your poster, the title of your poster. So if it's, for example, a fun run, definitely there's a photo of a person running, no? If it's a bike event, there's a photo of a bike, no? And of course, if it's related to a holiday, for example, Christmas, so you might see a Christmas Christmas photo, no? Or a lot of Christmas trees, no? And other Christmas uh, stuff in the photo, no? Or that will actually help, no, the poster for in terms of giving it a more vibes, no, and to make the message clearer. Or at some point, of course, the photos will speak for themselves, no? Always consider your audience, how they read, no? So of course, in our in the Philippines, we always read from left to right, but you always need to be considerate in for example, if you're catering a reader which doesn't read left to right, no, so you need to reorient your materials, no, from right to left, etc., etc. No? Even in comics, no, it's always left to right. Ayan. Okay, so let's go back to this example, no? So this poster, so there's the signatory here, no, at the topmost part, but it's just small, no? And of course, the main point or the will be the title or the greeting here, no? The secondary details will be this subtitle here, no? The date of the occasion, and of course the secondary details, no? Which is this is the message, no, wishing you a blessed Eid al-Fitr, no? You might ask me why how is this intermediate detail or other necessary detail, no? It's in the center, no, between Eid Mubarak and May 3. You still need to consider, of course, the weight, no, the weight or how thick the letters are, and of course how small the font is, no? So May 3, 2022 is still bigger than this message. So therefore, this will be the secondary detail. And this is the main detail, the main point, no? Of course, the other embellishments would be supporting graphics. Yeah. To maybe, of course, obviously these are Islamic patterns, and this is a mosque, so this will of course add to the vibe, no, of celebratory of Eid al-Fitr. Yan. So Eid Mubarak to our Muslim friends. So thank you for watching this video for our part 2, no, of the graphic design workshop. So hopefully you have learned something, or some things, no, new things, or you have refreshed yourselves in this first set of rules that we had discussed this workshop or this video, no? So in the part 3 of this video, which I hope you will wait for this and you will still watch it, no? We will discuss, of course, the typography, which is in front of you as teaser, and others like the types of layout and other necessary rules, no? And in making your materials better. So of course, in preparation of making your materials look good and functional. So I hope I'll see you again in the next video, no? So probably that will be posted next week. Yeah. So bye class, and thank you.